Hi, good morning. And we're back again with the Talbot Express. A freezing cold morning, and it's made me think about heating and the fact that very often you don't get heat delivered from the cabin heater. Engine through cabin heater and keep your tootsies warm. And I'm going to look at one particular issue which is always worth checking on the Express. Very often overlooked, but very simple to check, and often the cause of preventing the heating from coming into the vehicle. So let's go and look at it. Okay, so engine running, you've got your heater set up to deliver some heat, and you put your hand down, and of course, nothing. And as we all know, the way the heater works, as the engine warms up, heats the water running around the block on the head. Some of that water is diverted through a heat exchanger, your heater matrix. Fan blows, takes the heat out of that water and pumps it around your feet. Now, if you have no water running through the heater matrix, then you aren't going to get any heat. And I'm going to show you how to make sure the heater is bled so that you're actually getting water flowing through the heater. Okay, now I've turned the engine off at this point so that I don't have to talk over it. So water is heating up as the engine is running. Water pump pumping it through the block and your head. And then some of the water is diverted through the heater. Now, if you look into your engine, look at the bulkhead, which I hope you can see in there, sort of underneath the left-hand side of the spare wheel mount. And you will see two pipes running through the bulkhead. Okay, this one here, give me a hand on it. This one here to the left, if you follow it back, is coming out from the top of the head and is carrying the hot water out of the engine towards your heater. The one on the right, it's the return, just like your radiators in your house, and it's feeding the water back into the lower radiator hose, back through the radiator for cooling and ready for recycling. Now, providing you're getting flow in and out of there, then you should have water going to the heater. To check that, first of all, when you have the engine running at the beginning, the engine needs to be cold. Start the engine up and just carefully, and as usual, make sure that all the dangly bits are safely tucked away. But if you touch this pipe as the engine begins to warm up, you should feel that pipe beginning to go warm. The return pipe still staying cold up until the water starts to flow through the heater, and then the return pipe should warm up as well. Now that's all very well, and providing that's happening, you've got a fair indication that there is water going to the heater and you should have heat. On the other hand, you can get, like any other water-based heating system, you can get an airlock in the heater matrix, and that's going to stop the water from flowing. So how do we bleed it? Okay, so we're back off the engine in a wee second, and if we then approach from the left-hand side of the cold air intake and squeezed in between that and the coolant reservoir, you're going to find a little tube with a stopper on the end of it. Now, before doing this, double check that your coolant level is where it should be. Make sure you're not low there, because obviously if there's no water in the system, you ain't going to get any heat in the heater. But make sure that's topped up, and ideally you want to be doing this with the engine running, and again you need to be very careful because obviously at this point you're dealing with hot water. But this pipe has a little nozzle on the end of it, a stopper of some sort, and that's again passing through the bulkhead into your heater matrix, and it's a bleed pipe. And all you do is this. Okay, so at this point you're going to have the engine running, because if you have no flow, if you have no water pumping water, you ain't going to see what's happening. And this is just like bleeding any other radiator. So from the bleed pipe, remove the nozzle, look for a steady stream, no air bubbles. And bear in mind, as I say, be very careful because this is hot water And once you establish that the air is all gone, reseal your bleed pipe, and high presto, that is proving that you have got water flow through your heater and you will have removed the air. Obviously there were no air bubbles because this one is blade. If there was air, you would be seeing the bubbles coming out. You're looking for a steady stream, no air bubbles. Once you've done that, just check that your coolant reservoir is back up to the appropriate level, making sure you use the right antifreeze mix, etc. And that should be heat flowing in the cabin, providing your heater matrix isn't gunged up, but that's another story. So there we go. Frosty morning, heating in the cabin, couldn't be better. So look, I hope it's been useful. Please like, subscribe and share, and until next time, goodbye.